God's perfect plan. Hope in the midst of chaos. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. The context, written to exiles and crisis. The first crucial point is to understand who God was speaking to. Chapter 29 of Jeremiah is not a message for people who were comfortable at home. It is a letter sent to a people who were destroyed and exiled in Babylon. They had lost their city and their temple, their freedom, their identity. They were in captivity, living in terrible circumstances, wondering, has God abandoned us? Where is our future? The promise of plans to prosper you and not to harm you was not given to them as a quick escape from their predicament. In fact, in the preceding verses, God tells them, build houses and settle down, plant gardens and eat what they produce. Marry and have sons and daughters, for you will be there for 70 years. The key is this. The promise of Jeremiah 29:11 is not a quick fix out of difficulty, but a guarantee of purpose in the middle of the difficulty. God's sovereignty. I know the plans. The natural person seeks to know, what will happen? How will I get out of this? God declares, I know the plans. This is not a guess or a wish. It is the declaration of a divine architect and engineer who has a fully formed and sovereign plan for your life. A. Plans to prosper. Shalom. The Hebrew word for peace or prosperity here is shalom. Shalom is much more than the absence of war. It means completeness, well-being, holistic prosperity, spiritual, mental, physical, and relational. Even if you are in war, the exile of Babylon, God has a plan of shalom for your soul. B. Plans not to harm you. This does not mean that harm, suffering, loss, mistakes will never touch your life. It means that God's ultimate purpose is not your harm. Suffering is a temporary tool He permits, but God's final destination for you is good. As Romans 8:28 says, God works all things together for good. The final promise, to give you hope and a future. The hope, the future, was not the destruction of Babylon, but the return to the promised land after 70 years. It was a hope that required patience, faithfulness, and faith in the journey. What does this hope mean for us today? Don't rush the process. If God has placed you in a Babylon, a difficult job, a financial desert, a time of waiting, He doesn't want you to flee desperately. He wants you to flourish where He planted you, because that is where His faithfulness will be demonstrated. Trust the blueprint. When you look at your life and only see rubble, remember, God already holds the final reconstruction project in His hands. What you are experiencing today is only the middle of the story, not the end. Faith is believing in God's peace, shalom, even when your circumstances scream the opposite, knowing that His plan is always greater and better. Call to action. Your Babylon, your desert, is your proving ground. Instead of asking, when will I leave here? Ask, what does God want to teach me while I am here? If you are in a period of difficulty today, use the promise of Jeremiah 29:11 not as a vague wish, but as an anchor of security. The sovereign of the universe knows what He is doing, and His plan is one of peace. May the certainty of God's plan fill your heart with hope today.